Chair recognizes the Honourable the Minister of Women's and Gender Equality.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And certainly it's great to be back here in our Honourable House of Assembly. And I'd like to congratulate and welcome all new members, of course. And I would like to, of course, thank the people from the beautiful district of Harbour Grace, Portagrave. It certainly has been a long winter, but needless to say, there's lots of work to do, so I'm certainly happy to be back here in this Honourable House. I also want to take this time as well, Mr. Speaker, to commend and thank the women who stepped forward. I think it's the most in history, the most women candidates that we've had run for every party in all 40 districts, so that certainly deserves an applaud and recognition. And of course, we find ourselves with just 9 women represented here in the House of Assembly. Of course, there's much more work to be done, but again, thank you, and to commend those women who did step forward, of course, and gender diverse individuals who stepped forward for this provincial election. So again, big thanks to Harbour Grace, Portagrave, the people there. You know, this is my 3rd general election. You know, time flies. Who knew? Back in 2015, you know, this is our 3rd election. But needless to say, I'm very grateful for the support that the people continue to show me, and it certainly is a great honour and privilege. Every time we stand in the House, we're representing the people who put us here, and I always say, and every time I stand, how important it is to remember that, Mr. Speaker, that, you know, it's much bigger than the 40 people here in the House of Assembly. We're representing the entire province, so, you know, I always keep that near and dear to my heart in everything I say and do in my position as MHA and now Minister. I'm very excited and I'm very grateful for the opportunity to be the Minister of Women and Gender Equality, and I'm very grateful to the Premier that he has recognized the importance of making this a standalone portfolio. As we know, and as I've said, much work has been done, but we need to do much more to advance the matters facing women and girls and gender diverse individuals. And at this time, I also want to thank the ministers who came before me in this portfolio for the good work, and I intend on certainly working with them to build on the work that needs to be done, and of course apply a gender-based analysis lens to every program and policy and everything that will be developed and generated by the Government of Newfoundland and Labrador, you know, to apply that lens and of course mitigate the impacts that historically have been there facing marginalized groups and women and girls. Just to talk a bit about my district as well, of course, very exciting news, which I think I started way back at the beginning. It was one of the very first priorities that I talked about, and often here in the House Assembly, inside and out, is of course, the need for the replacement of the long overdue Colleys Point Primary School. My colleagues, as you can see, Mr. Speaker, still support me on this every time I talk about it. $16.2 million was awarded to replace this aging facility, and I'm happy to say we're near completion and hopefully soon ready to move in this year, Mr. Speaker. So, and it's a beautiful building. It's just located adjacent to Amalgamated Academy in Bay Roberts on Eric Dodd Drive. And, you know, the people out there, the school community, the parents, the students, the educators, everyone as a whole, even in our neighboring communities, of course, are very excited about moving into this, you know, this brand new state-of-the-art facility. I had a tour just recently, but now I can't wait to get in there, of course, and you know, we see that new facility in there, and so it is very exciting. So again, you know, our government certainly came through on that commitment. We all knew it was promised years ago, but you know, finally it has happened, and we can actually see the results. It's a big, beautiful, bright, colorful building, and I simply cannot wait. And again, I want to thank the people there who made this priority known to me, you know, as MHA back then. Again, $16.2 million. Of course, road work, and we all know it's that time of year, Mr. Speaker. We have a small but mighty construction window to get the much-needed road work done throughout Newfoundland and Labrador. I'm happy to see also the Harvey Street project was also a huge priority made clear to me by residents in my district, in particular the town of Harbour Grace. And so Phase 4 has been complete. We've worked together with the federal government as well as, of course, our provincial government and our municipalities to make that happen. Phase 4 is complete, and now we're waiting for Phase 5, of course, to begin, and so we're just waiting on some good updates on that. As we know, we collaborated with my colleague MP Ken MacDonald, the member for Avalon, the federal member, of course, as well as the Department of Transportation Works, which has been very supportive. And so I look forward, of course, to seeing that work getting started on that very busy historic street, actually Harvey Street. Of course, Route 70, the Conception Bay Highway. Prior to the Veterans Memorial, it was the only way to get through, to take your excursion around the bay in our very historic and strong district of Harbour Grace, Portagrave. So I look forward to that. Also want to thank, it is National Volunteer Week. here, of course, in our beautiful country. And I want to take this time as well to thank the people, thank all the volunteers, because as we all know here, and we can all appreciate across every district, every organization, I think it's safe to say that our volunteers are indeed the most valuable assets. Would you all agree? I think so. So, you know, it's certainly big thanks. And that leads me into, of course, we're gearing up. COVID did put a little bit of a break on the Newfoundland and Labrador Summer Games, which is slated for Bay Roberts and surrounding communities to host in Conception Bay North region. We were supposed to host the summer past there last year, but unfortunately COVID had other plans. And I'm told, and the commitment has made, that we will host in Bay Roberts the next Newfoundland and Labrador Summer Games. So significant money, of course, more than $200,000 and counting to go in for infrastructure, for wellness. And of course, that's also a huge priority of this Premier and this government, to not simply receive treatment, but to achieve wellness in Newfoundland and Labrador. Because, Mr. Speaker, as we know, there's always much more room, for improvement with regards to wellness, and statistics prove that across the country, with regards to diabetes in particular, we have the highest rates here in Newfoundland and Labrador. So I'm happy to see that there is a commitment to doing just that, to getting us where we need to be healthy, and to build upon, those good health practices and vitality. So lots of priorities there for that with regards to the infrastructure for the summer games. I will say that another priority that's been made clear to me is to establish a wellness center in the Bay Roberts area, in an immediate area, to have a year-round pool, because that's something that we need here in the area. We live in an expanding area in the district of Harbour Grace, Portagrave. So lots of good things happening, of course. Again, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention our volunteer firefighters, the men and women who run into to those burning buildings and structures and emergencies of all kinds when the rest of us are seeking shelter. So a big hats off to them for what they do. I think it's safe to say that we all sleep easier at night knowing that they're there ready to answer the call 24/7, Mr. Speaker. So big thanks to those and our emergency first responders across the board. Also now, I also want to touch on some budget highlights as well for the Department of Women and Gender Equality in Budget 2020 supports for women and girls. An additional $425,000 in funding to advance the work of the Office of the Status of Women, including the development of a Premier's Roundtable on gender equity and the expansion of the Sexual Assault Nurse Examiner Program. Very important initiatives and priorities, Mr. Speaker. $3.2 million in operational funds for women-serving organizations. And I will say, I can't wait to get out there and get on the ground and meet with the stakeholders, because of course, Mr. Speaker, those people are the experts in the community. And I'm happy to say that the partnership is so strong, which I'm learning about as, of course, taking on this new role, and the cooperation and the conjunction with our federal government as well. And of course, we're all eagerly waiting the budget, which is going to be brought down today, which I understand is going to be very focused on a COVID recovery with a special focus on women and girls and gender diverse individuals and childcare. As we all know, and as we've all learned, it's very important, especially coming out of COVID. So, Mr. Speaker, on that note, I guess I will take my seat. My time is winding down. Again, it's very good to be back here in the House of Assembly. The people of Newfoundland and Labrador have made it clear. They've spoke. They want us to continue this very, very important work that we're doing, and I'm confident in this Premier and this team. It's the right time. It's the right team. And that said, I look forward to working with every member in this honourable House, and I respect you all, and congratulations on your re-election, and I look forward to working with you all. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.